What if I told you Ryan Reynolds, yes, the Deadpool star, was secretly negotiating to buy Marvel back from Disney? Sources are buzzing about high-level meetings between Reynolds and Marvel Studios executives, including Kevin Feige, following Deadpool 3's massive $1.5 billion success. But why would Reynolds want to take on Disney, and how could he reshape the future of Marvel? Is a buyout really happening, and what does this mean for Disney's failed woke projects like She-Hulk and The Acolyte? Stick around, this could be the most shocking move in Hollywood yet, and it's not what you think. Things are looking worse for Disney, as recent Nielsen data reveals that Agatha Darkhold Diaries has performed even worse than The Acolyte, which was recently canceled. This failure is sparking frustration among some of the more vocal factions within the fanbase, particularly those who feel Disney hasn't done enough to support their preferred shows. But the spotlight is now shifting to Ryan Reynolds, who has just achieved monumental success with Deadpool 3, a project that grossed over $1.5 billion at the box office. This success comes right on the heels of reports suggesting Reynolds has been meeting with Marvel Studios executives, including Kevin Feige, to discuss future collaborations. His growing influence within Marvel is undeniable, and rumors suggest he might take on an even bigger role, possibly even alongside Feige, leading a major shift in the studio's future direction. Some insiders speculate that Reynolds and Feige could potentially take over Marvel, cutting Disney out of the picture entirely. If this happens, they might strike a deal similar to Sony's arrangement, with Disney continuing to license certain properties while maintaining access to some of Marvel's resources. But for now, this is just speculation, and fans are eagerly waiting to see how it unfolds. Meanwhile, the success of Deadpool 3 has sent shockwaves through feminist and woke circles, sparking some entertaining reactions. Just when it seemed like things might calm down, especially with actresses like Tatiana Maslany and Brie Larson stepping back from their woke rhetoric, it's clear they're not done yet. Despite many hoping the era of pushing gender politics in movies was over, these actresses continue to stir the pot. Maslany, who starred in She-Hulk, is now targeting Disney, angry that her scenes were cut from Deadpool 3, which has become a massive hit. According to reports, she's even threatening to sue Disney and Reynolds over the removal of her cameo. All of this is happening amid a broader narrative. Some are trying to push that movies like Joker 2 failed because of a perceived sexist bias, when in reality, the movie simply didn't deliver. Poor storytelling, not gender, led to its underperformance. In stark contrast, Reynolds delivered a blockbuster with Deadpool 3, which grossed over $1.5 billion. Meanwhile, She-Hulk and The Acolyte, driven by similar agendas, flopped badly, losing millions in the process. It's hard to ignore that these failures had nothing to do with gender. Instead, they suffered from poor execution, lackluster content, and an overemphasis on political messaging. The problem isn't just bad stories and poorly developed characters, it's about talent or the lack thereof. Simply put, the performances from these actresses didn't live up to expectations, and the result was a disaster. What we're witnessing now is a clear case of woke jealousy. If you're not surprised by this trend by now, it's time to really start paying attention. As Deadpool 3 continues to shine, it's becoming clear that Reynolds' success has outshone the woke projects many of these actresses were part of, including She-Hulk. This has sparked a backlash within Disney itself, where certain factions are actively trying to sabotage successful projects while pushing agendas that undermine the very foundation of what made these characters and stories beloved in the first place. This is why it's crucial for fans to keep speaking out. Channels like mine and others like Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic are at the forefront of this battle. We're standing up for what we believe in, making sure we're not complicit in the destruction of the franchises that shaped our childhoods. We've already won some victories like getting The Acolyte canceled, and that's just the beginning. It's time to show Disney, Amazon, and these massive corporations that we won't sit back and let them tarnish the things we love. They need to be held accountable for their actions and understand that we won't tolerate them ruining the franchises that mean so much to us. The latest development in this saga is the flood of paid articles attempting to downplay the success of Deadpool 3 and Wolverine. These articles are deflecting attention from their achievements, especially now that Deadpool 3 has surpassed Captain Marvel at the box office, effectively marking the end for She-Hulk. To put things into perspective, Deadpool 3 and Wolverine have now cracked the top 10 of the MCU's highest-grossing films, surpassing Captain Marvel and Spider-Man Far From Home. When you look at the list, you'll see Avengers Endgame at the top, grossing an astronomical $2.7 billion, followed by Avengers Infinity War and Spider-Man No Way Home. Most of these films came out during Marvel's golden age in the 2010s, when they were untouchable in terms of box office success. Now, sitting at number 9, you have Deadpool 3 and Wolverine, with earnings around $1.1 billion and still climbing. By the time you read this, it may have already hit $1.2 billion. The point is clear: Deadpool 3 has surpassed Spider-Man Far From Home, and Captain Marvel has dropped out of the top 10 entirely. This success proves that two white male leads, when paired with solid storytelling, can still dominate the box office. It shows that audiences want quality films, not agendas. This is why She-Hulk and The Acolyte failed and were eventually canceled. The market has spoken, and it's clear that woke propaganda doesn't sell. Good stories do. In a surprising move, Disney Lucasfilm decided not to move forward with the second season of The Acolyte, essentially sidelining Leslie Headland and Manla Stenberg as far as Star Wars is concerned. This shift came right after Deadpool 3 and Wolverine surpassed Captain Marvel at the box office, a significant blow to the woke agenda many had championed. But in an odd twist, shortly after Deadpool 3's success, some outlets published articles defending She-Hulk by comparing it to Deadpool. One article even claimed that She-Hulk had surpassed Deadpool in a key area, suggesting that the two characters might team up in future films. This, of course, is a stretch. Let's be honest, it's almost absurd to compare She-Hulk with Deadpool, especially considering how poorly both the She-Hulk series and Captain Marvel performed. Both films and shows, led by Brie Larson and Tatiana Maslany, failed on multiple levels, from box office numbers to fan reception. For example, the Captain Marvel comic series was canceled after just 10 issues, barely enough time to make any real impact. Yet, some articles continue to push the narrative that She-Hulk and Deadpool are connected, as though there's some meaningful comparison to be made. It's clear these pieces are simply defending failed woke projects, unable to face the truth. Audiences have moved on from these types of stories. One article tried to defend She-Hulk by highlighting that both She-Hulk and Deadpool share the trait of breaking the fourth wall. While it's true that She-Hulk did it first in 1989 and Deadpool followed in 1997, the comparison still falls flat. The She-Hulk TV series was poorly received, and this attempt to defend it by citing comic history just doesn't hold up. In reality, revisiting the comics only makes the difference between the two characters clearer. The She-Hulk series proved that she can never truly compete with Deadpool. While Deadpool and Wolverine have earned over $1 billion and are planning future projects, She-Hulk's failure is evident. No second season, and a movie would almost certainly flop. The truth is simple: woke projects like She-Hulk have failed, while movies like Deadpool 3 continue to prove that telling good stories will always triumph over pushing an agenda. The future for characters like Deadpool and Wolverine is bright. But for She-Hulk, she's already shown she can't compete.